Now David had said, surely in vain I have guarded all that this man has in the wilderness, so that nothing was missed of all that belonged to him, and he has returned me evil for good. May God do so to the enemies of David, and more also, if by morning I leave as much as one male of any who belong to him. So David was serious right there, right? He said, may God do so to the enemies of David, and more also, if by morning I leave as much. So he's like, as much as I want you to do to them, if I don't do what I'm going to do by killing all these people, may he do more to me. Right? So he's serious. He's about as angry as one person can get. When Abigail saw David, she hurried and dismounted from her donkey and fell on her face before David and bowed herself to the ground. She fell at his feet and said, on me alone, my Lord, be the blame. And please let your maidservant speak to you and listen to the words of your maidservant. Please do not let my Lord pay attention to this worthless man, Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Remember, Nabal means fool. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. But I, your maidservant, did not see the young men of my Lord, whom you sent. Now therefore, my Lord, as the Lord lives, and as your soul lives, since the Lord has restrained you from shedding blood and from avenging yourself by your own hand, now let your enemies and those who seek evil against my Lord be as Nabal. Now let this gift which your maidservant has brought to my Lord be given to the young men who accompany my Lord. Please forgive the transgression of your maidservant, for the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house, because my Lord is fighting the battles of the Lord, and he will not be found in you all your days. And evil will not be found in you all your days. Should anyone rise up to pursue you and to seek your life, then the life of my Lord shall be bound in the bundle of the living with the Lord your God. But the lives of your enemies he will sling out as from the hollow of a sling. And when the Lord does for my Lord, according to all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and appoints you ruler over Israel, this will not cause grief or a troubled heart to my Lord, both by having shed blood without cause, and by my Lord having avenged himself. When the Lord deals well with my Lord, then remember your maidservant. Then David said to Abigail, blessed be the Lord God of Israel who sent you this day to meet me. And blessed be your discernment, and blessed be you who have kept me this day from bloodshed and from avenging myself by my own hand. Nevertheless, as the Lord God of Israel lives, who has restrained me from harming you, unless you had come quickly to meet me, surely there would not have been left to Nabal until the morning light as much as one male. So David received from her and what she had brought him, and said to her, go up to your house in peace. See, I have listened to you and granted your request. I mean, in there was a lot of stuff that she said, right, to get David's attention so that he would turn away, right? So, here comes Abigail, and, we don't want to let this beauty fool you, right? This woman is wise, courageous, and full of discernment. We should all be thankful for someone like that in our lives, right? For me, it's my wife, right? I'm sitting here writing this, and I'm like, oh, man, this sounds exactly like Christina, right? Beautiful, wise, courageous, and full of discernment, who's helped me, multiple times get out of situations that would have other been bad. Now, for me, sometimes I got to be her Abigail because she'd be ready to, let loose my little Mighty Mouse. But, that's how it kind of goes, back and forth. You're there for each other. So here, Abigail, right, when she hears what her husband has done, she doesn't wait for Nabal to fix it because this is a worthless man. This man is a fool. He thinks so highly of himself that he's blinded himself to what he thinks his worth is, right? His worth is in his possessions. It's in his status. But even his guys know this guy isn't about anything. So for her, she gathers up gifts. She does what Nabal doesn't do. She humbles herself and goes to intercept David. And at this moment, she does three powerful things. She reminds David of God's promise. In verse 28, the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house. Your house is going to last. God's told you this. Verse 30, and when the Lord does for my Lord in accordance with all the good that he has spoken concerning you, and appoints you ruler over Israel. So she knows the story. She knows that Samuel went to Jesse's house, went through the line of brothers, and then said, where's David? Oh, he's out herding sheep. Okay, bring him. And boom, right then and there. So they know the story. So for Nabal to be so arrogant to say, who's this David guy? Right? Who's Jesse's son? Like, dude, you know who he is. You're just being dumb. Right? You think you're being funny, but you're just messing up your household. So she wants David to think about the plans God has for him, and they don't involve personal hurt feelings. So then she goes on to warn him of the foolishness of vengeance. She didn't come in swinging at David like, what do you think you're doing? These are my friends and family too. How could you do this? I thought you were this person. No, she doesn't come in swinging, attacking him. She came humbly, but boldly. Right? She reminded him of who he was. Right? He was God's chosen one, the future king of Israel. God anointed him because of what Saul had done. So she said, right, the Lord will certainly make for my Lord an enduring house. And warned that if he shed blood out of anger, he'd carry that guilt into the throne. In other words, don't ruin your testimony and calling over someone who's not worth it. Don't ruin your own reputation. Don't ruin what you have built in God for a fleeting moment of a foolish act into your future calling. Because one day you'll be on the throne. And don't let this be a story you tell with regret. And how many of us have stories of regret because of actions we did out of anger or bitterness or hurt or whatever? I could think of some, because I know I'm not perfect, but I truly hate living with regret. Why did I do this? I'm always kind of trying to teach that and drill that into my kids to respond, not to react. Because when we react, we can cause more harm than any good. So Abigail helped him zoom out, right? See the bigger picture. And reminded him that revenge now could cost him peace later. And peace is such a precious thing. To be unburdened by, I was going to do that, Kamala Harris. Be unburdened by what has been. But seriously, she's helping him to understand that. Don't allow this moment, which it is in time, to ruin future moments. And so what does David do as she comes? He doesn't dismiss her, right? He stops and he listens. He hears what she's saying. And because he didn't allow who he knew, who he was, like, I'm God's anointed. You don't need to talk to me. I know what I'm supposed to do. He hears what she says, and he tells her, blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who sent you this day to meet me. Because he knows this is God speaking through her. So blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who sent you to meet me. Right? Blessed be your discernment, for otherwise I would not have left so much as one male. I mean, that is just, it's crazy. He was dead set on going out and wiping out this man's crew. And those poor guys, they're like going to her saying, you got to do something because your husband's an idiot.